Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. All bingo-y tiles, but too many duplicates and triplicates for there to be a bingo. So always tricky in this. Let me take that back. I have a read. Gosh. Okay, a read for 70. Very nearly missed that. It's a high probability-ish bingo, but it's just an obscure word. And I'm not sure I've ever played it before. Anyway, I did manage to dredge it up, and I'm not sure what hooks it takes. It's possible it takes no hooks. However, if it does take a hook, I think it'll just be a solitary S. Now, look at this, UWW. Biz takes an E, I don't have one. This is a pretty awful triplicate, and very hard to get rid of all three of them in one go. Definitely a priority getting rid of two of them. And I can do that with war here, which leaves quite a good rack lead. The U complements the N. Only 17 points. I could burn the A and play war parallel to a read. So that burns the A, which helps the rack and provides a lot more scoring opportunities than war does. Now, can I do anything with Zen? Well, not this turn, in the sense that I can't get rid of the two out of the W's and the U's if I play Zen. So I'm going with war. Through an E, I would have unhatted. All of the E's in read are blocked. And I'm not seeing any other candidate bingos. And still no E for buys. War takes E, L, and S. Okay, no floating E, so no bingo available. I do have unhat in column 12, sticking a U in the middle of row A. So not ideal, but it does totally sort the rack out. And I'm minded to play it. Unhat for 26. Great, I draw an S. Rest of the rack not too fabulous. I really am suffering from the lack of ease. It's an incredibly useful bingo-y tile. So I'm expecting opponent to play in the top right. Always difficult to leave a triple word square alone. I do have an L for making wall, but I will be looking to play off Y and U. So I could play Julie, keeping AST, that's not bad. Where else can Y and U play? Well, not seeing anywhere. If opponent doesn't play in the top right, for example, if he has a bingo elsewhere, what do I have? Not very much. Now, I have yawled on my rack, which doesn't hit the triple in row A, but maybe an alternative play to Julie. For example, I could play that in row J. Now, war also takes an A, so I could play yawled and Wawa. Fantastic, just 5 points for opponent. Utterly pathetic score. So, yawled for 31. Not great, but not terrible either. I do now have an E for buys, but more importantly, I have Jeff on my rack and Jeff's. Now, I'm not seeing anywhere great for either of those. But if there is a spot, it'll certainly be a great way to sort the rack out. Now, pungy is good, so if I had an I could extend pun to pungy. How annoying, no spot for Jeff. Punt takes O, S and Y. Wow, this is frustrating. One's eyes immediately lit upon Jeff and there just isn't anywhere for it. I don't have anything down from the U. I have only one vowel, that's what's really proving problematic, and there are pretty much no floating vowels on the board. This is surely too good a rack to change. So, what to do? I don't have anything which hooks ZE. So I have F for 21, which I think is better than changing. Keeping 4 consonants is pretty horrible. There's a high probability of drawing 2 or 3 consonants. Even if it's not more than 50%, it's still high, and that means problematic for the next move. Just wondering about playing ST. Retaining the E. I am wondering about arides. It's good. So I do now have an alternative play which I'm attracted to. Fees 438. Yeah, and although the rack leave is even worse, the score is so much better and it provides so little. I am going with this. Ah, well, why not play Fest? Yeah, it's one more point, which is pretty much neither here nor there. But what is important is that it's reducing the number of consonants in my rack leave from 4 to 3, and that is a big difference. I'm not too worried about opening up column 15 because the other advantages outweigh that disadvantage. Well, I needn't worry about having all consonants. I pick 4 vowels. Fest takes an A. So I have Zhao in row J. And Zhao looks the obvious play to resolve this vowel preponderance. Punto is good, but I don't have anything great in column 15. The V means any play at the top is only going to be 1 or 2 tiles long, not what I'm looking for with this rack. Through an E, I would have Phi Joa. Rioja is good. That's available. Wow, that's available under the U of Yald. Interesting. That would leave OF. Not a terrible rack leave. Nice score for opponent. He now trails by 50. So I have Rioja for 31. Fairly easy for opponent to score off. Do I have any alternative plays? I don't think there's anywhere I can play F and J. If I play Rioja to the left, I simply score less. I'm going with this. Well, that looks a little nicer. And what's nice about this rack is that although it's non-bingo-y, it holds out the promise of a decent score and a very good rack leave. If I play off OOF, then AENS is a really strong 4-letter set. Look at this, still 2 blanks to come. I lead by 80, so just one bingo's lead. So, where to play OOF? None of those letters goes underneath the A. So that's out. I can play foo and yo, foo and ow, foo, oder, and oat. Alternatively, oof, fat, and ouda. So there are a ton of spots. I don't want to get hung up on playing oof or foo. If the points justify it, I will play a different move. I'm just not seeing any sensible candidate plays apart from the ones I've mentioned. So foo and yo, 17 points. Okay, 27 for opponent. There is a new spot for oof for 16. Foo in row K holds out the danger of opponent sticking any vowel underneath the F and getting a good score. Oof takes a Y and an S, and there's a Y to come. Well, why don't I go back to looking up here? Oof for 16 is quite nice because it takes a number of front hooks, which is good if I'm bingoing because it's a bingo lane. And if an opponent takes out that spot, then he'll be providing access to row A. I'm going with this. Well, not great. I'm not immediately seeing a bingo. V and M, not great tiles, particularly the V. But it should be fairly easy to sort out. I've got meave and you, meave and ye. I don't have anything great for going in front of oof. I do have V's, which would be burning the S. 32 points, that's not bad. Helping to extend my lead. And I am not extending it. Look at this, I'm only 40 points in front. Certainly V's is better than V. The S adds a lot of points. VAE is also a candidate play. £32 points. I prefer this to VAES. Ordinarily E a better tile than A, but A goes well with MN. There are only 2 A's left, and 5 E's plus Jot takes an A. So I'm going with this. Fantastic. I draw one of the blanks. I have Axonemi. Does that play? Well, it does. Column 6 and you. Fantastic. And I would have had that even if I'd played VAES. Now I also have Axonemi and Ur. So I am definitely bingoing. Fantastic. And Axonemi and Tar. Superb. That's the best to date. So are there any other bingos with this rack? And I'm looking for 7s. Not seen anything yet. Great, just 15 for opponent. And I'm still looking because I may be able to score more if I can get a tile on this double letter square other than a 1-pointer. Still nothing. I hope I don't forget the word I've already identified. Okay, so let me get this down. Axonemi for 100. Bang! Fantastic. And look at this pickup. I have reality. Not sure that plays anywhere, but it's a magnificent sight. And its anagram is irately, which also ends in a Y, which is a shame. It means it also doesn't play. But I now have a substantial lead, 150 points, how things change. And 100-point bingos are really good because a typical bingo might be 60 or 70 points, and this is so much more. Wow, life gets better and better. So reality for 94. Bang! Fantastic. And look at this, absolutely ridiculous. There could be another bingo here. Tinamoo's through an A. But in any event, I'm now approaching a 200-point lead. And it seems seconds ago that I was looking at a 40-point lead. Now there's a floating E. If there is, well, that gets taken out and the board gets crushed somewhat. So probably no bingo here. However, what can I do with this rack? Column 6, I think, is pretty much the only bingo lane after opponent's play, unless it's a very special play in row L with C in second place and the right ending. Well, I don't have that with this rack. Suddenly the board looking super tight. 5 tiles left. What to do? Well, it's annoying, but I do have conium, and the reason that's annoying is that it empties the bag. Is there a slightly shorter word through this C? Well, I guess so. Cumin, U and M not particularly useful. 8 vowels out of 13. Yeah, so this is a fine Rackley. Scores okay as well. I am going with this. I can see what opponent's got. He's got 7 out of these 8 tiles, and they're not particularly great. They are bingo-y, but there are limited bingo lanes on this board. I don't have a bingo. If the E were an A, I would have Santoku, which doesn't play, but it would if it ended in an O. Do I definitely have nothing ending or nearly ending in U and M? No, I don't think I do. An OUS play would work. No, not seeing anything there. Okay, so, wow, look at this. Opponent's got these 5 tiles. I don't think he's going out in 1. So I need to plan to go out in 2. How can I do that? Board suddenly super tight. I'm thinking about retaining the O for OW. Well, I've also got the E. Should I play this straight away? 23 points. The U not particularly useful for opponent, nor indeed anything else. And can I go out in 2 places with OST? I have Scott and Logs. And I have tons, so yes, I can. Is this best? So difficult to know. I'm going with this. It's definitely good enough. That's it, which is a pretty meaningless thing to say. But I guess I meant that it's just not a tragic score, and I'm guaranteed to go out next turn. Okay is good, but none of my remaining tiles goes in front of the U. So where is the best spot? I have Sot and Tam for 10. That is now worth 1 more point. 9 minutes on my clock. So, Sot for 11. Scott, 11. Anywhere better. Let me just put this back. I have 8 minutes. I'm not going to spend forever on this, but I think it makes sense to spend a little bit of time. Soda and cheese is good. Sot and so, 9. Festa, never used. Rioja takes an S, and logo is good, but socked isn't. No, I'm not seeing anything better than Scott for 11. And the final score, 330 for my opponent, 514 for me, a winning margin of 184 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a blowout that ended up being, but it certainly wasn't for the first half of the game. So it was me to go fast, and there it is. Would have been so painful to have missed that, but fortunately I didn't. Opponent plays Biz. And now, well, I don't play any of these. I do. I play War for 17, keeping Daunt. And that is 7 points better than Door in terms of rack leave. So how would I value ADNTU? I would say it's close to 0, maybe fractionally positive, fractionally negative, between -1 and +1, something of that order. NTUW, definitely negative, and possibly approaching -10, so I would say there's about a 10-point difference in rack leave and only a 7-point difference in score. Opponent's rack plays Dabber, and I play Unhapped for 26, but J6, because of Wawa, Haunt plays, and I think at this point I was considering EL and S as being the hooks for War, and not the A. Anyway, I don't suffer for that error. Opponent takes out the top row with a low score. And now I do spot the Wawa hook and play Yawled, but Studley A14, quite nice, and puns, 42 points. I prefer Yawled. It provides no access to column 15. The score difference is only 11 points, and ST is going to be pretty much bang on the money, 11 points better than A, so I prefer my play. Opponent's rack, no bingo, looks close, plays Tav. Jest F14, where's that? Oh no, is this where I played Fest? Oh, good grief. So I saw FES, then right at the end saw I could add a T, and didn't then realise that I could replace the F with a J, and duplicate F, not a problem. A lot of words have double F in them. So yeah, look at that, 11 points left on the table. So that was an error. Opponent, let's go back. Opponent plays SH. And now I have Rioja for 33. Wow, this is not where I played it. C6, Rioja and Or, very nice. So I play it down here for 2 fewer points. Opponent plays Log. And now I play Oof somewhere, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, for 16. So I dropped 10 points, but my rack leave of AENS, I would say definitely 10 points better than AFNOS. AFNOS, I would put it maybe plus plus 3. But AENS I would put at plus 15 or maybe a little more. So in my judgment, more than 10 points difference. Opponent's rack plays tech, N10, VAE. Quite nice because V takes nothing underneath it. That is nice. And a G takes nothing underneath it, so that's a super safe 30 points. Instead, I burn my S for only 2 more points, so yeah, V definitely a better play. Opponent plays Chi. And now look at this beautiful side. Axoneme for 100. Fantastic. And the only other bingos available were the same word in different places. Opponent's rack, great comeback with Pingles. But I have drawn really well and I have reality. And I played that pretty quickly, but look at this. It's the only bingo. Opponent plays side, which really dampens the board down. Phew, nothing missed here. G13. Zines and Ita, that's nice, 32 points. What do? I play Cumin for 18 down here, keeping OST. I think I prefer my play. I think OST is super flexible going into the end game. Yeah, and it does leave 1 in the bag, but it's a fairly arid discussion when you're this far ahead. Opponent's rack plays a go. Onkus, that's nice, I3, because of Kago. Very nice, 33 points, and I suspect I can go out in 2 spots with Ute. Possibly not, I would have it here. And hooking the W of Wawa. Not sure I have it elsewhere. But in any event, this does guarantee that I can go out next turn. And there it is, Scott for 11. So, what a game. Absolutely fantastic fun. Huge win, over 500 points, nearly 200 points in spread, and a couple of nearly 100-point bingos. Axoneme was 100, and reality, the very next move was close to it. So the game absolutely exploded into overwhelming victory halfway through the game, and then one just floated and cruised one's way through the final stages. So all good fun. Many thanks to my opponent for a good game. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.